Hey guys, so today's video is a mini tea where we talk about little things happening on the internet in between all the big stuff happening on the internet. Before we get into the video, make sure you're subscribed because YouTube has been unsubscribing people, and make sure your post notifications are on to all rather than personalized. My social media, my puppy social media, and my beauty channel will be in description. So today's video is actually sponsored by Adam and Eve, who are offering you guys 50% off one item of free shipping to US and Canada with some exclusions if you use Angelika at checkout when you go on adamandeve.com. 20% of all profits go to fighting HIV spread around the world. They have 90-day no-hassle returns, discreet packaging, 24/7 customer service, and they've been in business for almost 50 years. So like I said, if you guys want 50% off one item with free shipping to US and Canada, some exclusions apply, use code Angelika at checkout when you go on adamandeve.com. Now let's get into the tea. The first story we have for today is Gabbie Hanna. So Gabbie Hanna was recently called out by a few YouTubers, kind of. So there's a YouTuber called Mr. Preda. I'm hopefully pronouncing that correctly. I know he's Joey Graceffa's ex-boyfriend. They literally just broke up. And the video we're talking about is called Answering Questions I've Avoided Post-Breakup. So there was like a bunch of questions that, just about him for his fans. And then there was, which YouTuber do you hate? And he shaded Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star for being in drama all the time because he's like, I don't want to be in drama. And then they said, what was your least favorite person on Escape the Night? And Escape the Night is a YouTube original show with a bunch of YouTubers on it. It gets like millions of views. And he says that one of them was money hungry, had a bad attitude, and was not humble, was bossy. The YouTubers that he didn't like working with: season 1, Lele Pons; season 2, Sophia, for not promoting the show; and then season 2 and 4, Gabbie Hanna. He said she was miserable to work with, nightmare, made him cry, was a diva, shouted, screamed, was unprofessional, and he basically just said, the person who cries wolf all the time tends to be the wolf, and if someone in the industry doesn't have friends, there must be a reason why they don't have friends. And that was what he said, and I was like, that is tea.
Our next question is, who is your least favorite person on Escape the Night?
I feel like you guys know. There were a few, because obviously Escape the Night is a produced show. It's a multi-million-dollar show on a massive network. There's 180 crew members. We filmed for multiple times. I think it's really interesting when you take a YouTuber who's used to like this connection, producing themselves, especially like super successful ones that are a bit jaded and like money hungry and only care about certain things, and putting them on a production, because a production is not just a one-on-one relationship. It takes the crew, it takes hair, wardrobe, catering, it takes directors, producers, executive producers, lighting, sound, mic people, everything. It's like a whole team, and that whole team comes together to create the amazingness of a show. Some people come on set with a really bad attitude, or just think that they're the biggest star in the room when there's 10 other people, or they're just like wanna be messy and like be fussy and just like not humble and excited to be a part of a project. So I had issues with a few people, none that are existing today, and just not in my life because I don't fucking care about them, period.
I think some people just aren't cut out for that environment.
Right.
And maybe they learned that.
Yeah, that's true. But also they probably never worked before other than like this type of work. I've been an intern, I've been a PA, I've produced, I've directed, I've written, like you know what it's like to be on set for 15 hours a day.
Right.
So when you have people who are negative and just like divas or brats, like it's not cute. I mean, not to drag anyone or anything, but who did I have issues with? Season 1, Lele was a little hard, but also like I know who she is, and she has this incredible documentary on YouTube, so I don't hold that against her. Season 3, I don't remember having any issues other than Sophia, who I'm not really a big fan of, but again, I don't care. Also, she didn't promote the show at all when she was on, and that's gross to me. It was part of a contract to promote it, and you're part of an amazing show that's the #1 show on YouTube. Like, why wouldn't you promote it? Aren't you proud of your work and being on it? I feel like people only do certain things if they're getting something from it, and maybe she wasn't getting enough out of it, or maybe she was upset that she didn't win or something. I'm not dragging her, I'm just saying the truth. And then season 4, Gabbie, I had issues with her a lot. I also had issues with her on season 2. I don't think I've ever said her name publicly, but it's not really news to anyone. She was, I don't know, her and I have had a very volatile relationship where it's been like really good. Right now she's not in my life anymore. I've just like decided to step back from a lot of people this year. Yeah, she was miserable to work with, for the most part. There were good moments. If she was great on camera, which she was, and she was very entertaining, I forget about all that shit.
But you're forgiving to a fault. Like, sometimes we need to draw a little bit more of a line in the sand,
Right,
I feel.
right. So I definitely forgot about that season 2, and then she was back for All Stars season 4. And then season 4, she was a fucking nightmare. I'm not going to expand upon that because I don't really care anymore. It was just hard. There were a lot of diva antics. There was a lot of yelling, a lot of screaming, a lot of unprofessional behavior. It was miserable, but it turned out entertaining on the show, so I can't really hold that against her. I mean, she definitely did make me cry once. If you see people who aren't working in the industry or aren't liked in the industry or they don't have a lot of friends in the industry, there's always a reason why. This isn't like a new thing. This goes on a lot of different things. The person who usually cries wolf the hardest is the wolf themselves.
And then I remember there was a Trisha Paytas podcast with Joey Graceffa, who's obviously, you know, was also on Escape the Night. Said that Escape the Night is unscripted for the most part. Some things are scripted and there are actors in between who have some kind of a script to kind of lead the way. And he said that season 4 was his least favorite to film due to a drama. And there was like a person there who, you know, just wasn't making it fun and was kind of unprofessional. And, you know, they said the same thing, essentially. So it must be Gabbie Hanna.
It's scripted or unscripted?
So with everything with the YouTubers, it's unscripted.
Okay.
So like everyone who shows up, no one has any idea what's going to happen or the clues that they're going to solve. The only scripted bits are the actors that are mixed within the YouTubers. They have like a storyline that they guide the YouTubers through. Okay. So all the voting and all the conversations that the YouTubers are having is all just as it comes. The director pops in and is like, hey, you lost. You're going to die. He's going to come over and stab you. So just play along with it. And then action. And it's just still one take.
Has anyone ever said no?
Oh my God, no.
I would. I'd be like, I'm not dying.
I'm not dying.
I did that on the new season of Reality House too. They wanted me to do an exit interview. I'm like, no.
Oh my God.
I was like, bye. I just laughed. I just sat in the Uber. I feel like that would be me if I lost and escaped the night. I'd be like, no, not doing that.
There was one person who, when they found out that they died, they completely shut down and didn't know how to, like, be...
Because were they like, because they didn't know how to act, or they were like, I lost?
They were just mortified.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I wonder that, like the drama behind that, because I mean, I think a lot of YouTubers, including myself, are kind of narcissistic where they're like, no, I can't be the one to go home.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Then you think, and only one out of all 4 seasons, someone like had an issue with dying.
Oh, there was one in season 4 too.
Really?
Sure. Yeah. That was, season 4 was my least favorite to film by far.
Why?
Just because
Drama.
of this one person on the cast who just made it hell.
Really? And how do you stay out of like not talking about drama? You never talk about things. I would call people out left, right, and center.
No, honestly, I could have, and I could have like exposed a lot of receipts, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I don't put out that energy.
And then Gabbie Hanna posted a video called I've Been Playing a Character for 6 years, in which she says that she has a new channel which is going to post kind of more music related stuff during Vlogmas, and that she's been kind of acting like a whole different person throughout her 20s. Like that's not her who she was. Like the Gabbie show and all of that stuff was all fake. And even in person, like it's not like she put on the show, but it was more like she was putting it on 24/7, even off camera. So I went to her new channel and there's a video there called Why I Care So Much About What You Think of Me, where she talks about how gullible and trusting she is, and she says that because she's so trusting, she cares what people think of her because she trusts that their opinion and what they're saying is like the ultimate truth. So there's that. I guess that links to why hate or criticism gets to her so much, because I guess she's saying that she's so trusting that like she starts to believe the stuff that people say about her, is kind of how I'm taking it. I don't know if I'm understanding it wrong, but that's kind of how she made it sound. Then talking about Trisha for a minute. So Trisha recently filmed a mukbang with her sister and her mum, and there was a woman that like knocked on their window and she asked them for food, and they said that they don't have food, they don't have cash or something along those lines, and that they can kind of like try get money for her later on, and they roll the windows up, and the mum gets a bit scared and she's like, hey, can you just back out? Like I think they're like blocking your way, like the car's blocking your way. And anyway, Perez Hilton posts that on his Twitter. He's like, a hungry woman asks Trisha Paytas for food. She refuses to give her any, includes her in a YouTube video, and then mocks her. Real classy. And she says, she was in a car with covered license plates and 2 men in the back. When I said, can we finish eating first? They started backing up to block us in, which is why I scrammed. It's a very dangerous situation. I should have never rolled down my window in the first place. And Dustin actually replies and says, Trisha, don't argue with Perez. He's trash, sis. And the stuff I've seen on Twitter from Perez recently, yikes. Anyway, and then she says, Prior to that, another man from out of town Hawaii is also seen on video trying to get me and my sister hang out with him. It's also left in the video, no context. So I guess what she's saying is, like, it was a dangerous situation. She obviously was not going to put herself in a dangerous situation to check if someone is a good human being, because that's how people get kidnapped, which is really sad, because obviously you don't want to be that person that's so locked off to people needing help. But there's just so many murder cases and so many kidnappings that you just have to be careful. And if you see a car with blocked off license plates and 2 men sitting in the back, it's probably not a good situation to put yourself in. Then actually Tana Mongeau went on Call Her Daddy, which is a podcast that used to be ran by Alex and Sophia. Now it's just Alex, because Sophia, you know, there was that whole situation with Call Her Daddy. I'm not gonna recap it now. However, when I first found out about them, I went on their channel and I saw a video about Tana Mongeau, and apparently she had kind of ghosted them a year prior, where she was going to be the first like guest on the podcast, and essentially just didn't show up. Like, they just waited for her in the studio and then she just never showed up. And then from that point onwards, they decided that they wouldn't have guests on, that they would just do it as them. And obviously they blew up, biggest podcast in the world, you know, that kind of a thing. So clearly it worked out. But Alex finally got Tana Mongeau back on. Baby, off baby. So they address a few things in the podcast, like for example, they addressed Tana Mongeau not showing up to episode 1. The whole podcast, Tana Mongeau was just up Alex's. Obviously she apologizes for not being there, but she's like begging for forgiveness. So then they go over the apology video and Facetune, that whole situation, and how Tana basically just says, like, look, I'm upfront and honest about Facetune. She talks about how, you know, she never lies. She says how there were definitely situations and times where the Facetune went too far. She addresses the Facetune on the beach. You know, when H3 filmed that like Instagram versus reality video, and one of those pictures was Tana in like a yellow bikini, and she says at that point she knew she went too far, because it was like, you know, she was like, it was night and day. She talks about how, you know, you shouldn't really trust what's happening on Instagram. It's like a highlight reel. It's like the best stuff that you want to show. She also talks about her childhood, how she moved out alone at 16, 17 because she didn't have a great relationship with her parents. She talks about the reason why she watched Shane Dawson, which, like, bringing up Shane Dawson in a podcast is a bold move. How, you know, he had a bad household too, so it kind of seemed like, you know, they had something in common. She dropped out of high school sophomore year because, you know, they were poor and there was even more fighting at that point. She said she had no structure in her life. She moved out before she dropped out and started YouTube. She just found a boyfriend and she was like, I'm moving out. She found a job and the manager actually believed in her, and then she got really like emotional about that Imari would actually fight for her a lot, Imari being her best friend, and that her family like and parents were very racist, and that kind of would explain her like very ignorant things that she did during her career. But obviously not an excuse, but definitely kind of like an explanation. If she grew up around those thoughts and those beliefs and those stereotypes, then obviously she's going to believe them as well to a certain extent. They address her apology once again and compare her to kind of James Charles and how put together he is and how that image works for him, but it obviously doesn't work for her. Admits that it was bad, but like, so you know your apology was bad and you just didn't make a new one or anything, you just kind of ignored it. Anyway, she spoke about why she waited so long. She just like didn't know what to do. She said that this time she didn't like run this past people, because every scandal she runs to people and she didn't want to run, so she compared it to like, you know, the TanaCon Shane Dawson situation where she heavily relied on him to get her out of drama, and she wanted to do this on her own, and obviously it didn't work out. She talks about how people lose relatability because they get so big and so rich and they move to LA and, you know, that whole thing. Also, Tana Mongeau needs to stop saying the GOAT. Like, every other thing was, you're the GOAT, you're the GOAT, you're the GOAT. Like, I was sick and tired of hearing the GOAT by the end of the podcast. She says how every YouTuber is essentially a bit of a narcissist, which I would have to kind of agree with. To put yourself on camera and put yourself out there hoping that people find you interesting enough to watch must be narcissistic to a certain extent. She talks about the Jake Paul blip in her life, where it was just fame and toxicity, and how all of that started, and how apparently it was real to begin with, and that they accidentally exposed themselves, apparently, and then it just kind of started snowballing and it just became bigger than they ever expected it to be. And she said that that was the first time she realized, like, I'm kind of famous now, like people are walking up to her, there was paparazzi following her, like that kind of a thing. So it was the first time that she had that kind of a life, and she genuinely just didn't enjoy it. She says because of her party girl image from kind of her past and all her story times, whenever she goes to parties, people obviously offer her stuff constantly. Even business deals center around things like that. She then mentions MTV, and she says how producers essentially just make everything to ruin her. They just care about how many views it will get and not how it will look for her. So obviously that's her throwing shade at MTV once again. She's done this before where she essentially blamed how she looked on the show on them. She talks about how fame affected her friendships, how even during filming the MTV show, everyone started behaving really weird and everyone was just kind of like not having the best time of their life, and everyone's just behaving in the wrong way, just doing all the wrong stuff. I mean, I find she puts a lot of blame on MTV. Like, is MTV the whole cause of her looking like a bad person, or is Tana Mongeau just a bad person? Like, what's the tea here? And then it goes into typical call her daddy content. They just go on from that point onwards. So there was recently a situation where people started trending RIP Trisha Paytas, and Trisha actually had to come out and say, oh, Twitter thought I was dead. Yikes, I'm alive. And some of them really went too far. Like, it was like making up rumors how she got hit by a car, or just crazy things like that. And it's just like, at that point, are you actually wishing death on that person? I'm just so confused as to why anyone thought that was appropriate. I don't know, like, whether you like her or not. I don't know, like, there's jokes, and then there's like, oh, like, that's oddly like specific. Jake Paul had a fight with like an ex-NBA player, and Austin McBroom has been trying to get in on the boxing game. And then Bryce Hall recently tweeted out saying, why did I see this 30-year-old man call me out on his Instagram story when he has my number? Don't you have a whole family to take care of, bro? I'd be embarrassed as a father if I were you right now, Austin McBroom. So I'm guessing Austin's trying to call everyone out now. Maybe the views are low. I don't know what the situation is, but he wants in on the fighting. So there's an insider article how Jeffree Star has finally sold his bubblegum pink mansion at a $220,000 loss. No wonder. It is the worst looking house I've seen. Well, his new house is pretty bad looking as well. Like, you know the definition of like money doesn't give you style? Yeah, that's Jeffree Star to a T. So Jeffree Star has sold his Barbie pink Calabasas mansion for $220,000 less than he paid for it in 2016. So the starter mansion sold to an orthopedic surgeon and his wife for $3.4 million after 4 months on the market, reported Variety. The YouTube star and beauty mogul starter mansion was already listed with a loss at $3.6 million, but finally sold to an orthopedic surgeon and his wife for $3.4 after 4 months on the market. The bubblegum walls, drapes, and chandeliers served as a backdrop to many of Star's YouTube videos between 2016 and December 2019, after which he moved to a $14.6 million, 25,000 square foot mega mansion in LA's Hidden Hills. Star left behind a giant vault in his old home where he kept his designer clothing collection, including hundreds of thousands of dollars, possibly millions worth of Birkin bags. Weirdly, the vault is not present in the listing. Star's pink house was home to him, his ex-boyfriend Nate, and their many Pomeranians. The dogs moved to the Hidden Hills estate with Star, but Schwant did not. According to Variety, Star may be relieved he managed to sell the house at all, as there aren't many buyers looking for a Mediterranean-style Calabasas mansion where innards have been hydro-dipped in bubblegum pink. But as the Daily Mail reports, it's unclear if the couple who bought the home really love the colour pink, or if they have renovations in mind. Some people claimed that the doctor was like a friend of Tati's because they thought he was a plastic surgeon. I don't know, it's like a weird rumour going around, so I just wanted to address that. He sold the house to an orthopedic doctor, but I don't think it's Tati's friend. Then there's something that I spoke about recently, actually. If you have swear words in your comments, let's say you leave a comment right now and it's got a swear word in it, it will go straight to spam and it won't show up on my video as engagement. So if you really want to give me engagement and you really want your comment to be heard, then try to keep it as PG as possible, because I've noticed I have like thousands of comments in my spam, which I just can't go through them all. So it seems like people are deleting comments, but in reality, it all just goes to spam. Like, the more angry you are, the more you swear, and then it all just goes into spam. And actually, The Verge wrote an article saying YouTube will ask commenters to rethink posting if their message seems offensive, an attempt to weed out offensive comments. YouTube is trying to combat offensive comments that appear under videos by following in the footsteps of other social media companies and asking people before they post something that may be offensive, is this something you really want to share? The company is launching a new product feature that will warn people when they're going to post a comment that it may be offensive to others, in order to give them the option to reflect before posting. According to a new blog post, the tool won't actually stop people from posting said comment. Prompts won't appear before every comment, but it will for ones that YouTube system deems offensive, which is based on the content that's been repeatedly reported. Once the prompt does appear, people can post the comment as they originally intended, or use additional time to edit the comment. For creators, the company is also rolling out better content filtering systems in YouTube Studio, the backend where creators manage their channel. The new filter will seek out inappropriate or hurtful comments that are automatically flagged and held for review, and remove them from the queue so people don't have to read them. The new feature will roll out on Android first and in English before appearing elsewhere. I told you guys, they've already been doing this for swear words, but now it will just be like probably very much dialed up. There's no question that YouTube has a problem with hurtful comments on the site, but one of the bigger issues is hateful comments. Through automatic filtering, the company has removed over 46 times more daily hate speech comments since early 2019 than ever before, according to YouTube. And it's very true. I have definitely noticed a spike in how many comments end up in likely to be spam or held for review. Like, so many more comments than when I first started my channel. Like, when I first started, it was just like a few like actual spam comments would end up there. Now, if you have a swear word in your comment, 9 times out of 10 it's going to end up in spam. So just be careful, guys. You know, when you're leaving comments and you want to be heard, try and keep it as PG as possible. I know people get excited over the tea, but you know. Then there's videos. YouTube claims that of the 1.8 million channels terminated last quarter, 1.8 million channels were terminated last quarter. More than 54,000 were due to hate speech. Those were the most bans for hate speech content in a single quarter that YouTube has seen, and 3 times as high than in early 2019 when new hate speech policies went into effect. YouTube is also trying to combat other issues, including, you know, creators monetization, bias, burnout, yada yada yada. And then that's it. So that's very interesting. And the last story for today is there is a situation that I've been following closely on, I think it was Beauty Guru Chatter on Reddit. There's this company called Sahi Cosmetics, which is a small indie brand to do with makeup, and they've recently accused Beauty Blender and Ulta of copying their makeup. Now I want you guys to let me know what you think. So with Beauty Blender, it was a primer. So there was a post on Instagram from Beauty Blender saying, at the 960,000 people that watched our primer get dragged with non-factual info on TikTok last night, what a crazy day. We woke up to Sahi Cosmetics founder video and were genuinely confused and saddened by what we saw and heard. We took the day to gather all the facts and sequence of events that led to the launch of Opal Essence Primer. So here it goes. Sorry in advance to bore you with all the nitty-gritty details, but you will see these products are formulated differently, marketed differently, and developed completely independently. The most obvious differences in the Beauty Blender Opal Essence Serum Primer and the Sahi Cosmetics Mystic Serum Primer are clearly posted on both brands' websites. Swipe for the snapshot. One has a matte finish and one provides dewiness. That's like literally 2 completely different primers at that point, in my opinion. So one has niacinamide and sodium hyaluronate. The other obviously doesn't have those. As you can see, the formulas use different ingredients to achieve similar on-trend benefits but deliver a completely different finish. We found it very confusing that the brand founder featured our product page description stating that this is where she learned our product is exactly the same thing as hers, because consumers are unaware of the product development process. We wanted to share the timeline outlining the start and finish of the product's creation. Here you will see there is no possible way we could have stolen the Mystic Serum Primer formula, even if we had used the same ingredients, which we do not. So then they go over from March 2017 to March 2019 how from start to finish they create a product. It's 2 years apparently. We are disappointed in the fueling of cancel culture, especially when it is unsubstantiated. To be honest, we found it irresponsible that this conversation was taken to a highly viral platform where the audience is unfamiliar with the process of developing products on a global scale, and that the information shared in the video was not fact-checked using public information or reaching out to our team. P.S. If after reading all of that your skin is feeling thirsty and looking to get its due on, we highly suggest you check out Opal Essence. There's a lot of primers that look like this. I was kind of believing Beauty Blender. However, you go on her TikToks, she filmed multiple TikToks, and every single TikTok has different comments. So one comment will be like, get this business the justice it deserves. It's so sad how many big companies rip off small family businesses. And then someone else said, you listed products that are legit in all primer serums. You should seriously chill. You are really misleading people. Even if ingredients are similar, it's a beauty serum. And then someone said they have different ingredients and are aimed to do different things. One dewy, one matte. How did they steal? Uh-oh, now comments are getting deleted. Girl, I really love small businesses. Keep killing the game, but this just isn't the hill to die on. But then on another video, someone said, I feel like they probably shouldn't have said nothing. It would have been better than their response. Big companies steal from small creators constantly because they know they won't be able to have the lawyer fees to take them down. This is common. Someone said, sis, hurry and patent your formula before they do. So like, it just seems like from TikTok to TikTok, the comments are either super supportive of Sahi Cosmetics or really supportive of Beauty Blender. You know, it's very hard to like judge what people think. She also dragged Candy Johnson for saying under Beauty Blender's post, you are and always will be an originator and innovator. And Sahi Cosmetics took that as that Candy is saying that Beauty Blender is the originator of that primer, when she was just, I guess, saying like you're the innovator of like stuff. So that was the situation. And now they're accusing Ulta of copying their lip balm packaging. But someone posted this TikTok.
I think Ulta copied my product.
I may or may not get hate for this, but Ulta did not copy your product. And while I understand it's not uncommon for bigger brands and bigger companies to steal from smaller companies, Ulta's trademark for Sweet and Shimmer was filed in 2015 and was accepted in 2016. In 2016, Tati reviewed the Sweet and Shimmer cosmetics that come out every year around the holidays for stocking stuffers and deals for presents. Additionally, Lancome came out with this Precious Carrot lip gloss jewel in 2007 in a similar shape to the other products. You can even buy it on Alibaba and AliExpress. They sell something similar at Dollar Tree. With a common shape, it's hard to claim someone stole it.
Saying that this product, like this packaging, has been done for ages and Ulta has been selling it for years. And they also sell it on Alibaba and AliExpress. So I guess, you know, there's that. Ulta then said that they were taking it off the shelves as just common courtesy, just while they're figuring out what happened. And I'm guessing if they don't see guilt on Ulta's side, they're just going to take it, put it back on the website. But for now, they're just doing it as a measure of good faith, is the way they described it. So that's the tea for today. If you guys enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, comment down below anything you want to comment down below, and subscribe to post videos every time something happens. So hit that bell, you'll be notified when that's happening. Social media links, beauty channel, affiliate links, any other links in the description. I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.